know that 90% of prospective clients reach out to their law firm via phone? That's why more than 3,000 law firms use CallRail to answer, track, and convert every lead. When your law firm uses CallRail, you can answer every call even after hours, quickly identify high-value leads, meet clients' needs faster to improve their experience, and use data to improve your marketing campaigns and land bigger cases. All seamlessly integrated into your case management system. CallRail helps your law firm grow faster. Start your free trial today at callrail.com/JTN. Hi, legal besties, and welcome to Ladies in Law Season 3. Right now, we have an incredible guest, and I would like for her to introduce herself.
Thank you for having me, Michaela. I'm Haya Tello, and I'm happy to be here.
I am so happy to have you. So, Haya is one of my favorite humans, honestly, just to talk to and hang out with. And so can you kind of just tell everyone who you are and how we know each other?
Well, first of all, Michaela is a very kind and humble person because I'm sure she's everyone's favorite in the firm. But that is how we know each other. I'm currently a law clerk at the Simon Law Group, and I just finished law school and I took the bar and we passed the bar, woo! Thank God. And so Michaela was the team that I was on when I first began, and she helped me with every single question I had, or even if I didn't have a question, she made it very comfortable for me to ask and to feel comfortable to reach out. And we always joke about it, but it's very comfortable sending all the exclamation marks you want. So that made me feel comfortable to ask her more and get excited. So
I
that's
really
how we know each
appreciate
other.
that. Haya is a very I just love your brain, honestly. And you show up and you're so eager to learn and ask the questions. And so that's part of why I really wanted you on the podcast, is because I want to just kind of pick your brain in terms of how you got to this place. Because I think sometimes when starting out, I know when I was a law clerk, I was so afraid to ask the questions. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, I always try and actively cultivate a space where you feel comfortable too, because we should be able to ask, and you can save so much time by just asking instead of trying to figure it out yourself. So kind of want to just dive into how you got comfortable just showing up, asking the questions, getting the answers and all of that. Because I know it's not always easy to do.
It's definitely not, and you want to impress, so you want to try to figure it out on your own. But I'm young, I'm only 25, but I've been working since I was 16, so I have had so many different roles and careers, and I think that helped me learn that asking questions is very important, but also asking very polished questions and narrow questions about first trying to figure it out. That's always Google it at the beginning, and that's what I always try to do. I try to Google it, I try to figure it out, especially in law, always ask for a sample. And then when you look into it and try, that is when I have a few questions that I really want to just talk it through with someone. And I'm thankful for people like you, and especially for Simon Law Group, because it's a firm that cultivates that community to feel comfortable asking. But also, I think you can also see when someone is trying and they have already looked into the file. They've already thought about it a little bit, and they're not waiting for you to feed them any thought. And so I like that. And I like to dig into the file, like to figure it out. And then when then I'm rambling now.
No, that was perfect. Because I think that's exactly it, is it's important to hear your thought process, right? And it's not okay, I love starting at Google too, and I do that, and I like to think about okay, can I find this myself? Mm-hmm. If I can't, then I'm definitely going to ask a question, and then the way that you're the way that it's coming across is the intentionality aspect.
Exactly.
Right? So it's okay, what am I trying to get? Why am I trying to get it? And I think that comes across a lot of the time in your questions, because it's oh, she's already critically thought about this. You can tell your depth of understanding, and the types of questions that you ask are huge, because it's and I mean, they could be really anything. There's no rule, but the way that you're asking the questions, you can tell you've already done the groundwork, and that's huge.
And I think when you do that, it helps you to learn more and dig in more, because you don't have to ask the surface level questions, which you figured out on your own. And then people get excited, especially when I'm working with the attorneys and I ask them a question, then they start to open up about their thought process and why actually let's do this instead of that. Because I'm asking them a question that I think if they were doing it themselves, they would be thinking about and trying to figure out themselves too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's awesome. And I think that like that's really empowering too. To like know like, okay, I have done as much as I can do. And I also understand that like I need to lean on others. And sometimes like I think I know for myself, it's like, well, I want to know everything. And I don't ever want someone to look down on me for not knowing something. And so there's almost that like fear sometimes that's like, should I ask this? Like, should I already know this? Like, are they going to think it's silly that I don't know this? And it's like, well, no, because it's silly if you don't know that and you continue to not know that.
Exactly. And just like we were talking about earlier, it's very important, I think, for especially people starting in their legal careers to find a firm and to find a place that allows you to ask questions and makes you not belittles you when you ask a question and gives you constructive criticism. Because I have been in places where you do ask the question, you get belittled, you feel stupid, and then you say, why did I even ask? Like, I wish I just did it or turned it in. Or it's a two-edged sword because you turn it in, it's bad, and then you get berated for that. So to find a place that actually wants to help you learn and will give you the flowers when they're due and will also give you constructive criticism is very important, because you're not learning all this stuff in law school. And maybe back to what your first question, why I dig into it more, is I've always liked the job, I've always liked in my life, I've never been the best at school per se, but I'm always trying to understand, where is this actually going in real life? How are we using this?
The application.
Exactly. So now I'm thinking about the application of like civil procedure, for instance. We learn that in law school and you're like, oh my God, who cares? But now I see how that is a sword that you use and how important it is and why there are these types of rules and stuff like that. And if you know it, then you can do so well in your case. So I think that's why I've been, better equipped to ask these questions. Because I'm thinking about it in a real life perspective. It's not just emotion or discovery. It's a case we're building. There's a story and it's a game and it's fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's like, that eagerness is part of like why I love being an attorney is like the law is ever evolving, ever changing. A lot of it depends on how you're arguing it, how you're applying it. And so it's fun because it's like you get to be a forever student. Exactly. You just always get to be like a student of law and like learning and evolving and growing and practicing and applying. And then it changes and then you're like redoing it, like redoing that process. And I think like that creative aspect on top of it is really invigorating.
It's so fun. And I love that I can actually experience that now and how to play with the tools that we have to work around it, and all these conferences that especially Simon Law Group, they really push you to go to it. I'm learning so much from the conversations or from the doctors or from the panels. It's like you learn from every single person in this field. It's not just your attorney or the books anymore.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And something I want to ask you too, because you are fresher out of like law school and now as like you passed the bar. That's like so cool. I'm just like so happy for you because God, I remember the way that like your chest just like loosens, where it's like you don't even realize how much you're carrying until you don't have to anymore. It's like, oh my gosh. What is something like that you think law school would be better to start applying or like teaching their students? Like how much of like what law school is actually translates to being an attorney? Because I don't think that it's a lot, honestly.
No. Real life application, there should be way more classes about how to propound discovery, how to respond to discovery, if you're not going to become a litigation attorney, how to actually draft contracts. And I think the most important one is what we were talking about, how to be a good worker, employee, how to ask the right questions, how to have like not the corporate conversations, but email etiquette. And like I see it sometimes where someone is emailing a whole book, not here, but and I think to myself, I'm like, I wish I can nicely tell them no one's going to read that and no one wants to read that, especially your partners or someone higher than you. So and that was something I had to learn way earlier. But like I said, I've been working for a while, so I learned these things and saw it. But I think if I just started and I wasn't working before, I would be doing the same thing. I'd be and I think over communication is good, like to tell like that. You should keep people in communication. I always I would tell Michaela when she would assign me an assignment, I'm working on it, it's just giving me more time. Or, hey, Michaela, I tried to work on this, but something else came up. Keep them in the loop so that they're not wondering where you are and then checking up. Second, email people, but also keep it short and to the point. What's the next, just like a judge, what's the next point of where you're going? Sometimes you don't have to explain every single breath of it. And so that etiquette of just starting your career professionally, they definitely need to teach it because it'll help you advance, and they don't.
Yeah, I'm literally feel like I just want to be like, yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry.
to all of that, because I'm just like, I agree. That's like pretty much exactly how I would have answered that question, because I think a big part of the application, like yes, it is important to learn, how to critically think, what to look for. Like, I think that is important to just kind of get familiar, because law school is unlike any other kind of, it's not like undergraduate. It's not like, it's different.
And being a lawyer is not like your law school essays. No. Where you're getting 5 pages of a hypothetical and then you have to write down rule statements. Like, you're not doing that.
No.
You have to know the rule statements. You have to understand what you're looking for, and it's important. Yeah.
Did you ever do like an externship?
Yes.
So I think those should be more like required.
I agree. Actually, that's what I did most of the time. From my first year, I was always doing externships, and I didn't realize that. Like I said, my foot forward has always been working. Yeah. More than school, above all that stuff. So with working, I've been able to just dive in so much more. I agree with you. I think externships should be mandatory.
Yeah, because then you actually get to do that application. You almost get to kind of shadow an attorney who's doing the next steps. And you get to see like the emails and the things where it's like, okay, like you learn about discovery, very baseline, very like, this is how many you can ask. This is what you're...
By the time you need to respond, 30 days. But that's not just
what does it look like?
Yeah,
also.
Exactly.
And like, how do you come up with the questions? Yeah. I remember like the very first time I was assigned discovery, I was like, but like, where do you get the questions and what is important to know? And I want to know everything, but like, is this the time to ask everything? And so just like that kind of stuff, and like knowing how to dive into it. So like for you as a freshly past the bar human being, I know every time I do it, I want to dance.
No, I want to tell you, it's such a win.
What is something that like you feel would really, benefit you during this chapter? Like, what is something that you want other attorneys to be able to like assist you with? How can like your learning journey be just like the best it possibly can be? Like what would set you up for like success?
I think the way that Simon Law Group has actually set it up has been a great learning experience, because just assigning so many different assignments and having templates ready to give. And also a resource, like I always come to you. I also always come to another attorney here, Gabe. And you guys are very open to answering so many. I mean, all the partners are too, but I always start there. And it has helped me a lot. Also really dig into the resources that you still have when you come out of law school, like Westlaw and Lexis, and realize that you can actually use those a lot more now, and you're going to want to use those resources. Yeah, I would just say read everything. So when you said like those emails coming in and coming out, at first I would just look at them like, this isn't my case. I'm not added on this. I don't have an assignment. delete. Now I'm starting to read every single thing, every email, every communication between internal and between the clients, between the medical records, between everything. And I'm just starting to realize what's important, what's not important. And when you get also a template or a paper, there's so much first boilerplate that I think none of us would read. But then I started really reading that and realizing there's just things you start to piece together, and you realize how important it is. So I say when you first begin as a lawyer, read every single thing, like really read and pay attention, because it's going to make sense later on, but just read it.
Yeah. I love that. And I think that's something that like, I know when I was first becoming an attorney, I did the same thing. And then I would also create this like, I had this little folder, and it was like email references, like what I would want to reference. Like I think a big part of like what you and I talk about too is like being your own person. Because I think so often we want to we almost like feel forced into this mold where it's like, oh, this is working for that person. I see the way that commands respect, and I see this. And so it's almost like you try and emulate it. But then if that's not authentic to you, then it's like, well, I never want to seem phony or not seem like myself, because it isn't, Yeah. So it's like trying to piecemeal what works. And I remember I would see something that someone would send, and I'd be like, wow, I love the way they worded that. Or it's like, wow, that's where you want, like, so it's almost like I was just curating this little thing of like where I want to pull from, but also still make me. And so I loved doing that, because it's like, you get to see like, I like the way they said that, because that was very kind. Or like that was very like direct, or this, where you kind of just start to piecemeal like the kind of like person, the kind of advocate that you want to be, whether it's like discussing things with, internally, whether it's your conversation with defense attorneys. Like I think at the end of the day, we're human beings.
Yeah.
We
need to show that.
We need to show that. And I think it's important. And I think that like this profession can really benefit from just like having that mutual respect, because at the end of the day, we're all doing a job.
I agree with you.
And if we can just like show up and like be kind, like I think there's so much power in that. And it's hard.
No, I
for sure,
with you.
But worth it.
And being unique and being yourself, like you said, there's definitely a mold. And even in law school, you feel like you have to suppress a lot of yourself, or go into an interview saying, I love this. I love insurance. I want to do insurance. But like you said, I love when I'm reading a motion and I see the lawyer's voice come out and their sass come out. And I've always asked the partners that I work under, I'm like, am I allowed to have some creativity here? And they say, go ahead.
Yeah.
And I love when they do, because I love being, creative. And especially in law school, the creativity was getting stripped away from you. Rule statement, the reasoning. And that was so hard for me. I was shit in my law school essays, actually. And my professors would call me in and they would say, hey, Haya, I know you know it, but why are you doing so bad here? And it was because I just wouldn't do the structure that I had to do. And then finally, I just did the IRAC structure and I saw my grades go up and I was like, well, if only I learned this one all year.
I feel like those are like the strongest like learning lessons though, It's like the times that I've made a mistake or the times that I haven't been like, at the top of my game is like, that's what you remember. Like that's the formative thing,
Exactly. But like you said, like don't try to, I think people should definitely not try to keep their personality in it, because for instance, Michaela is a big inspiration for me, because ever since I have came into this firm, she is so herself, always allows herself to be herself. And it's so inspiring and it's so uplifting. And I love it because our personalities are very similar. And it's okay. I'm allowed to be. And she's welcomed here to be like that. So if you feel like you're in a place that you are suppressing yourself, I just want to remind people that at the end of the day, you shouldn't change, whether it's work or life, you shouldn't change yourself for other people, because people will leave and people will come. Jobs will leave and jobs will come. But one day, if you change yourself so much, you're going to look in the mirror of a diverted version of who you are, and you're going to say like, well, you're not even going to know who you are anymore. So I think it's okay to continue being yourself and have the stances that you believe in. Speak up about the things that matter to you. Ask the questions, be excited. Whoever you are, let it be, because I think life filters out who's supposed to be in your life and who's not. And sometimes in our career, we think that is the exception. But I have been through it, and I have realized that actually you will find your community even in your career. And even in the legal space specifically, there is a lot of associations, whether if it's a women's law association, or I'm a part of the Muslim Law Association, or if it's like South Asian Americans Association, or whatever you believe in, LGBT Law Association, there's so many communities that you should tap into, because you will see that there's so many people that actually want to help you, and they would love to help you, and they will help you find a job if you tell them, I can't really believe in what I believe in here. They don't respect my thoughts here. Or I left because of it. People will have a lot of sympathy for that and will be like, what the hell? Come over here,
Yeah.
So tap into and lean into those communities. I always found it hard to ask for help. I know now I've learned, but I actually really found it hard to ask for help. Even in law school, I would never go to my counselor or career counselor, because I'm like,
I should figure it out.
Why should you're going to tell me to go apply to a job that it's already posted? But then I would just think that I have to write like this exquisite email of good afternoon, how are you doing, catching up, but it's not. You can just be chill and just be like, hey, how are you? Reach out to people. Can I get a coffee? I was really bad. My networking at the end was so bad, because I would just be like, are you happy? Like to all these attorneys, I just wanted to figure out what lawyers are happy and which lawyers are dreading their life. But after that, exactly.
Yeah.
But when I was very happy here, so I wasn't really asking to look for an opportunity, but I was like, so why am I not working? But then I realized, no, that's so wrong. Like but it doesn't all have to be about law. You can just talk about life and remember what they do, and then reach out when you have something or you want to lean on someone. So yeah.
No, like that's amazing. And I think that's like, I always remind myself, like at the end of the day, I am stuck with me. like forever. I will always have
Always.
myself.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I want to be able to look in the mirror and know that I never lost that. And that I am operating myself in a way that I feel proud of.
Exactly.
You know?
And if you lost it to get a job or to get a friend or a person, you're going to lose it at one point because you aren't yourself, or you're going to lose yourself. So don't lose yourself for this stuff. Yeah.
No. And especially because it's like, I'm a firm believer in like, you are who you surround yourself by.
I agree.
And you have the power to be intentional about the people you are surrounding yourself with. And so choose people that inspire and uplift. And like, I never want to be the smartest person in the room. I want to be learning. I want to be pushed. I want to be empowered to like want to be better. You know, like I am a work in progress.
Yeah.
And every day I want to be better. And so it's like, I want to surround myself by people that have that like mind and like understand that. And I think that that's huge.
I agree. I mean, off that point, that's one point too, where even if I know something, if anyone of the attorneys or anyone that is more experienced than me asks me, have you heard about this? Do you know it? Even if I do know it or I know a bit of it, I'm always like, no, can you tell me about it? Because I just want to know about it more. And I'm not, who am I to be like, oh yeah, I know this. I don't. And maybe I know the word of it or how to use it, but I think you can share more and it'll be instilled in my brain more. And you keep saying the word intentional. And I love that you're saying that because that was like the paradigm shift in law school and moving forward about everything. Be intentional. And I was very intentional about, like I said, reaching out to these people, going to these meetings, going to these associations. I mean, like when I went to Law de Gras for our firm, Bob had a meeting where it was like I was the least experienced person in the room, way least, like these are, you know, doctors, surgeons, lawyers, and partners and stuff. And I think you were supposed to sign up to go to this thing, but I didn't. But I just walked in very early and
that's amazing.
Bob let me sit on the table, didn't say anything. And then when I was there, I was so happy I was in this because I'm hearing these incredible conversations, this thought process about legislation, how we're going to move forward with it. And put yourself in those rooms because guess what? The only answer that is not going to be yes is going to be no.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Yeah. And sometimes you just like I'm a big shoot your shot type of person with everything. Shoot your shot. You're just going to get a no if it's not a yes. And if you get a yes, hell yeah, move on. You know?
Yeah. What, like if they give you a no, then it's like, okay, I'm in the same exact position I was before I asked.
Exactly.
And that is fine.
So ask and try and go into those rooms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like something that I always like to just like say is like, I am not a passive character in my life.
No, you're
you know,
not.
like I'm not going to sit back and just like let things happen. Like I'm going to make them happen. And if they don't, then I'll find a different route. Or maybe I'll find like, yeah, actually, I wasn't even passionate about that. Why was I even doing it? I'm just going to go this way. Like you get to choose that for yourself.
And sometimes you won't like it and that's fine.
Yeah.
And back to the externships that we said in law school, I tell all my friends that are still in law school, try as many as possible in different fields of law because that is when, like right now you can't when you graduate just, be at a firm for 6 months, then go another, you know, it's not going to be a good taste in people. But in law school, you can try as much as you want. And that is your opportunity to try and figure out what field of law do I really like. I thought I wanted to do transactional law until I came into personal injury. And then I realized, wow, this is a whole different world. And you have to know so much about the body. You have to know so much about the medical world. You have to know so much about insurance and billing. And it's not just like people say, oh, no, car accidents. It's not car accidents. People's lives are changing, you know? And you're also helping people. You really are on the side of helping people. So I was like, I love this way more than contracts was cool and transactional law was cool. But I always loved fashion. Yeah. And I thought that it was going to be the exciting, I'm doing the partnership agreements. It's not. You're getting called when you need to do a cease and desist, a trademark infringement, you're getting called when someone has a headache. And I didn't like that part.
Yeah. Well, it's just like exactly what you're saying. Where like, how would you know that if you didn't experience it? Yeah. Because I didn't think I was going to be a personal injury attorney. That's like not part of. I didn't go to law school.
What made you realize you did?
This firm.
Yeah,
I loved this firm. I always wanted to be a victim advocate in whatever capacity that was. I thought it would be more in like the criminal, sector. And I don't think I really understood what personal injury entailed. Honestly.
I think there's a deceptive version of it, especially like in law school and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. And just like you hear the things of like, oh, they're just billboard attorneys or ambulance chasers and things where it's like, that's the rhetoric all around you. And then you come to this firm and you start actively like practicing and you realize
reading
like
the cases that we're getting.
yes, and it's like these are human beings' lives who have been impacted, and I think like there's so much victim advocacy for us and what we do here, because their life has changed, and you get to be there for them. Because I always thought I was either going to be a therapist or I was going to be an attorney. Like there was that was just like what I had in my head, and I think there's a lot of like. Just like watching someone from the onset of their case and just like their continued healing journey, I think is just amazing. That's like my favorite part of the job.
Yeah.
And
I
just, like,
remember
the
when we
human
first
aspect.
met, you told me that one of the cases that you worked on, so not one of his son came to your wedding. And I remember that a lot because I'm like, these are people in your life that stay for a long time, or you change their life forever. This accident changed their life forever. And I'm very happy to also be at this firm because we really do fight for the right people, and we really see their value, and we aren't just trying to get a check. We're trying to make sure that they are covered and as much as possible in their position. So that makes I'm happy to be at a place that I'm very confident with the work that they do, because you also want to be at a place like that.
Yeah.
I don't know how I could never defend, an insurance company to get less money. I just couldn't.
No,
like,
no, absolutely
my heart
not.
would not. I would be a bad employee there. Yeah,
Like my heart's not in this. I don't. You're like, no, they're like actually really hurt.
Yeah, actually, like I would get fired. I would write the check, and he'd be like, "Who gave you the clearance for this?" I'm like, "I gave myself the clearance.
My
for
conscience.
this."
Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. God.
Oh, I love having you on the podcast. I love talking with you so
Thank
much.
you.
Something I want to like end this with, and I think that there's been like incredible nuggets throughout this episode, but like if you could give one piece of advice to like young Haya, what would it be? Because I think it's like it's such a pinch me moment where you get to like look back at like you growing up and then who you are today, and what would have been really healing for you to have heard, or just to like encouraging to be the Haya you are right now.
Oh, it's to little Haya, and it's to all the little troublemakers of the world.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that it gets better. Like sometimes when you're younger, you think that this is the world, I hate my parents, I hate rules, and then it gets better when you get just honestly, you got me a little bit emotional. It's I love Mac Miller, and he, keeps swimming, and it's like, just keep swimming. Like, honestly, you have to just do your best every single day. And I have had this mantra for a long time where it's just keep putting out the fire that is closest to burning you and keep going. But like, don't stop, because it's like, you just have to keep moving and keep trying and do your best, and let God do the rest, or the universe, but just do your best every day. And I'm even learning it now till today, where you just have to let go. You can have a plan, you can have a goal. Like I said, I wanted to go into transactional law. I've had that goal and been putting these pieces together to network with these people at these companies for 6-7 years. And then one day it just all fell apart. And I was like, where's my goal? Where's my plan? And I felt so confused. And I leaned on people that were around me that was very uncomfortable for me. And then new opportunities came around, and this was divine work. This was nothing I could have planned or done. So advice to little Haya is just a big hug, and to, keep going, because and that's to any person. Like, things are going to get hard, but it's like, you have the ability actually to change your life at any time. And people should know that. But you cannot sit back and think that it's just going to happen for you. You do have to put in the work. You have to work your ass off and get up every day and put out that fire, but don't give up and keep swimming. So
you're worth it.
Yeah, you are, and very worth it. I'm proud of you too. I'm thankful, This being at this firm and being at the position I am has been a lot of answered prayers. So pay attention to when also you are getting little wins. It's not always the big win. Yeah. Be true to yourself. That's also another one. I mean, life, relationships, work, be true to yourself. Like we said, life will filter itself out. It might get lonely sometimes, but it's the right loneliness, because it'll feel more lonely when you're surrounded with a bunch of people that you don't resonate with.
Amazing.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Michaela.
God,
you're a great
anytime.
Inspiration, and I love this podcast too. And you've had a great incredible speakers here, so I'm very honored to be here.
I'm honored to have you on here, and I don't think it's going to be the last time. So thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for listening. Until next time. Bye.